If you're anything like me, you've probably daydreamed about owning a machine like the ones you see lavishly draped over the centre pages of your favourite bike magazines, only to find out they can't be bought because they're either concepts or one-off builds. Frustrating? Or do we all need a bit of wishful thinking? I guess in reality, it doesn't really have to be like that, because there are bikes out there that can fill the void of a custom retro bike today. So why don't we take a look at our first bike from an English-based company called Langen. After 10 years as chief designer at CCM Spitfire Motorcycles, helping to bring to life a number of groundbreaking motorcycles, Chris Radcliffe aka Langen decided to break the shackles of a large company to follow his own mission to create a new British motorcycle company hell-bent on creating outstandingly cool new motorcycles. Although he's clearly focused on creating an aesthetically beautiful retro-looking bike, he also wanted to keep things simple, allowing the bike's weight to be kept to a minimum. By combining modern technology and materials, along with only components of the highest quality, they've been able to produce a bike that weighs in at 114 kilograms and has an impressive power to weight ratio of 160 horsepower per tonne that can produce a max torque output of 45 Newton meters at just under 12,000 RPM. Langen's first launch model brings an attack on all the senses through its sound, smell and sheer thrill of a two-stroke that produces 75 horsepower from its CNC machine's 250cc V-twin engine. The new Langen two-stroke is a track weapon that boasts an outrageous power-to-weight ratio more than that of most supercars. Its carbon fibre tank and bodywork are handcrafted in the UK and then given a 24-karat gold leaf detail finish that contrasts beautifully against its bespoke billet aluminium components. To match its top speed of around 140 miles an hour, the bike's been fitted with twin 300mm Brembo discs that are clamped by Hell radial billet calipers to the front and back of the bike. The bike's suspension's precisely handled by front Öhlins 43mm RWU forks and twin rear bespoke K-Tech shocks with that old school look but modern performance. And get this, during the design and build of the motorcycle, each new owner will have an input over the final design, ergonomics and geometry to truly create a unique machine and a lasting relationship with the team that designed and built their bike. Now, whether it be to do with the price or something else, our next bike often gets overlooked by the trend-setting youth of today, which is a complete shame because it's got exactly what the retro crowd are looking for. And let me tell you, it's got it in spades. So before we tell you the name of this bike, let's take a quick look at it in action. Powered by a liquid-cooled V-twin, this beautiful retro-inspired bike produces a little over 100 horsepower and has everything the modern bohemian could wish for. A few years ago, production began on the first new performance road bike for over 75 years to carry its iconic badge. It was the all-new SS100, which made its first public appearance at the 2013 Milan show to mark the 90th anniversary of the model's introduction. Since then, the Pendine Sunrace has positioned itself as one of the most iconic bikes to be produced in modern years. The bike boasts the look of an ultra-cool retro classic, but has the technology of a 21st century bike. It has a 6-speed gearbox and the electronic fuel injections managed by a Synerjet ECU that keeps everything running smoothly as it should. Now, the stopping power of the Pendine is handled efficiently by twin front Behringer 320mm discs, clamped by a pair of 2-pot Behringer radial calipers. Now, although the top speed of the 0 to 60 of the bike isn't published, that's not a problem, as you'd be totally missing the point of the bike if you thought it was. And let's face it, that's nothing about the bike that's gonna turn people's heads. Now, as some of you may know, no Bruff Superior has ever been built with a passenger seat, so throwing a leg over a single seat shows at once that the bike is holding true to its roots. And that, in our minds, makes the Pendine all that more appealing. Now, for those of you that can manage to get over the price of the Sand Racer, don't ask. It is an absolutely fantastic retro bike. However, our next bike from Clues will probably suit those of you with a slightly more stringent wallet, as it has all the charm of a retro but with a modern twist, and it'll definitely excite the eye and capture the imagination. Although the 6 doesn't have a long and illustrious history like our last bike, it's definitely headed for a long and prosperous future. The CCM are pumping out some of the coolest looking bikes to hit our streets for some time, and let me tell you, the 6 range is no exception to the rule. Featuring 2 models with a starting price of around 11.5k for the Stealth 6 and 10k for the Spitfire 6, CCM's producing bikes that hit the nail on the head when it comes to style, price and desirability. Now, the reason we love the 6 is due to its customizability, as this is the first series created specifically to empower owners to apply their own style and personality to the bike. 6 retains the torque-laden 600cc single encapsulated by a hand-welded trellis frame. And just to add a hint of personality, it's available in a unique range of high-quality powder-coated finishes. The Spitfire 6 tips the scales at around 139 kg, 306 pounds, and its liquid-cooled single-cylinder 4-stroke engine produces around 55 horsepower and is managed by a 6-speed gearbox and chain-driven final drive that delivers more than enough power to put a smile on your face. Suspension consists of adjustable upside-down forks up front with an adjustable monoshock at the rear. Wheels are both 19-inch spoked or forged alloys. The 6's braking is taken care of by Brembos all round. Up front there's a Brembo 4-pot piston caliper over a 320mm Hell rotor, and in the rear there's a single piston caliper over a 240mm rotor. The 6 takes styling cues from the original Spitfire, with overriding hints of bobber from a floating seat, which also makes it more accessible to riders of all heights. The flowing curves of the bike's fuel tank are further enhanced by a choice of contrasting paint finishes, with complementing saddle colours and finishes. And just to finish off the bike, an assortment of coloured anodising for the ancillary components completes the look. Now for those of you that fancy something, let's say a little less Hollywood, our next bike should dreamily transport you back to a time when riders required a closer connection to the bikes they rode and wanted a slightly more laid-back approach. Based in the US, Janus produced some of the best looking early retro motorcycles that not only feel and look the part, but simply make riding somehow more special. Although these bikes look about as retro as you can get, they do have the trappings of a modern bike, with an electronic fuel injection, 4-stroke single-cylinder engine, and electronic injection and start. The Halcyon also boasts CNC machined aluminium hubs, with aluminium alloy rims held together by straight steel straight-pull spokes. And the bike's instrument panel features digital speedometer and LCD screen. Now the Halcyon 450 does pay homage to what came before, and definitely the best of what we've done before. At around 150 kg, the bike sports a thrilling power to weight ratio that increases the enjoyment of moving through each gear during everyday riding, not forgetting that the light overall weight also instills confidence in riders of all abilities, allowing them to truly pilot the bike. Now when we take a look at the 450's stopping power, again the bike shows its modern side, incorporating two 80mm discs clamped by 2-pot floating Brembo calipers to the front, while the rear is handled by a single-pot Brembo floating caliper and 220mm disc. Now although the bike's not going to break any speed limits, maxing out at around 90 miles an hour, it definitely is for riders who value experience more than size or specification, and those who celebrate form over function. Hand-laid enamel graphics and pinstripes, hand-formed fenders, hand-hammered and welded stainless steel exhausts, and full-grain leather bags are just a few of the hand-manufactured and personalised details that will help you lose yourself in a joyride that makes the minutes stretch out in the joy of riding and the hours melt away in the passing landscape. Round about now I'd normally ask you guys to subscribe, but I think you know the drill, so I guess a thumbs up will do if you've enjoyed today's choice of bikes. We got more retro stuff in one of these thumbnails up here. Thanks for watching, I'm out of here.